moved here and grown up here and you have children and you're, you know, that you're raising and your husband's in the food industry, so you get to do, you know. So there's ways to elaborate on all that.
And you know, like my dad had a business and like I know a lot of people through him, but I didn't want to put the focus on him. Because I know like a lot of people. My dad owns a business in Antioch, so like...
Well, you could mention, there's nothing wrong with mentioning that.
I know, but I didn't want to draw the focus away from me. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But you could say something like, the business helped you grow into who you are today. Right?
Yep.
And then you're using the business to focus on you.
Right.
From there, I learned these transferable skills that will help me with real estate.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
I just didn't know how to word it. That's where I was stuck.
Yeah.
Like.
That's why I mention with people, especially when I'm doing listen to our buyers, where I mention to them that I'm a police chaplain, because I'm very good in high stress situations, and when everything is falling apart, I can stay calm and deal with those. And I'm very good at negotiation and that, because I do that all the time with people in crisis situations. And many times buying a house, it becomes a crisis because it's all falling apart. So I use that experience to tie into there. So
But don't tell them that at the beginning, please.
What?
Yeah,
Don't tell your clients
I wouldn't, because they were like, so it's gonna be a crisis buying a house with you?
Well, part of that
It
work.
might be, but we got this.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's where we make our money, is in dealing with problems, you know. Okay, so let's talk about making a business plan. So most of you have gone through and used the business planning tool. So you're ahead of the curve there. It's basically a plan of action focused on sales and based on activities, which will be used ultimately to lead you to your income goal. Well, why should we do a business plan? You know, part of it is it keeps you on track. If you don't aim at something, you don't hit it. Now, I'm doing kind of a business plan, a modified business plan, because I'm teaming up with Cheryl and Emily. But I'm actually doing a little bit different. We've kind of got a business plan we've worked out, we've put together here, because we know what we want to make. So we're trying to work that way. But what I'm doing right now is, rather than goals and a business plan, I put down my priorities for what I need to do. So part of my priorities are building a team. So I'm building my real estate through Emily and Cheryl. Part of my priorities are building my property management thing. So I'm putting into my schedule and calendar every week things that are activities that are associated with building my property management side of my business. I'm putting priorities into my calendar every week of working with Cheryl and Emily. I'm putting into my calendar every week things that are broker related. I'm putting things every week into my calendar that are related to training and coaching and those sort of things, which is part of what this is here. I'm putting part of my priorities into my wife and my family and those sort of things. So I broke it down into amount of hours per week that I want to minimum contribute to those, and then at the beginning of the week, I'm scheduling and putting into my calendar those times. So I'm setting my appointments up there. So as I get calls and stuff for appointments, I should be able to work around what I put into my calendar to do that. So, but it's important to do that because it gives you an estimate of what you want to expect to learn. It helps keep you on track. It helps fill your pipeline. So coming into the beginning of the year, my pipeline was not full. I just looked at a house in Antioch today. I got a lead from Christian Referral Network that I get one like 1 or 2 a year. That just came in today. Emily and I talked to the guy for about 30 minutes, about 20 minutes too long, but that's okay. So we'll start to work with him. They got a house to sell in Rio Vista, and my wife's only going to work with somebody who lives over there. We're going to try and win her over and get the listing over there too. So, and then help them move over here. If you're not working on those activities, are going to fill your pipeline. You'll find your pipeline gets drained and emptied pretty quick. And what tends to happen is that we get a deal, we work it, we're all intense on it, and then it closes, and then we start to work on the next deal. Well, you got to be working on multiple things at once. It's multiple avenues to fill that pipeline. It's kind of like filling a bathtub. So our pool. So if you got a pool to fill, if you put one hose in, it's going to take forever. If you put 2 or 3 hoses in, it goes faster. If you put 3 or 4 hoses in and you're just taking water from your neighbor's house, it goes really fast. So yeah, you always want to fill your pool. You always want to put your pool in and start filling it with your neighbors. You know they're going on vacation.
Are you recording?
Yes. So it's important you do that. Well, how do you create a business plan? It's on Weichert 1, and I'm going to walk through there and go on there, so you've got that. And I'm going to kill this because it's going to drive us all nuts when it's hopping up and down. And there we go. So Weichert 1. Everybody able to log into Weichert 1 now?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know you were waiting for me.
No, I just want to make sure everybody's good. I didn't say you don't have to, but I just want to make sure everybody can get in. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Weichert University, and then it's going to pop up here, and bottom middle is the business planning kit. And you can do business planning, source of income document, or the expense calculator, or you can just click do it now, and it'll take you through the whole process. Linda, you've done it, and Bobby, you just did it, and Emily, we did it at the when Cheryl was here and worked on that. But I bring this to you so that next year, when you hit about September, October, November, to go in and do your business planning for the next year. And so you're ready to go for the next year. Even if you don't hit your targets this year, at least you'll be able to see what you did and how on track you were, and that. So for most of you, or a couple of you, you don't have a track record of income. You have some for this year that you just did, but when you did yours, you were kind of mid-deals on there. So for this next year though, hopefully all of you will have income coming in, and you'll know what your average commission check was, and we will be able to give that to you. You'll be able to put that information in, and then you'll be able to go through and know what's going on. The one side of the business plan that you need to really probably focus on and keep track of, and I'm not sure how you do it right now, Maggie, but your expenses.
I do on paper.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
'cause
do
I
on.
have to see it and
Okay.
have to see it.
But I would track your expenses. What are you actually spending? So for me, most of my stuff is on credit cards and those sort of things that I do. So I've got the whole track
Right.
of my expenses on cards. So I don't keep it itemized as I go. But how much you spend, on gas a month? How much do you spend on flyers? How much you spend on mailing? How much you spend on even your phone, your computer, things like that you can write off? What are your expenses that you have for doing business? Those are things that you need to be tracking this year as your first or second year of business, so you know what those expenses are. For us, what we're going to do is every closing, we're going to take a certain amount of money, a percentage, and we're going to put it aside, and it's going to go towards marketing. So we can grow our marketing budget and do that. What we tend to do is we close it and we've accumulated a bunch of bills and we pay the bills, and then it's gone. And then we don't have money to market. We don't have money to do things we need to do to get out there and build business. And then we kind of languish until that lucky phone call comes through that we can respond to. So you need to start to flip your business where you're proactive with your marketing rather than reactive. The other thing I've mentioned that I think is a wise thing to do is your first closing, take the money for your next year's dues, or even half of them. Set aside half it now and half on your second closing, put it away, and that way it's all ready to go for next year. So when you hit December and you're trying to buy Christmas presents, and that bill for $1,200 comes out for paying all of your fees and stuff, it's there.
Mine was at 1,200. I had to pay 2,200.
I think that's because there's a lot of first time fees.
Yeah,
I had to pay like 1,800 or something.
yeah.
Well, we better write that down and make sure that, that we have that calculated for agents that come in, yeah.
When you first, it's like a price sheet or.
Yeah, she was showing me.
Well, you haven't got your super key
Oh,
yet.
I
That's part
remember
of it.
that.
That's why. That's part of the
Did you
expense.
get your super?
How much was your lockbox key?
It was 150 deposit plus
Yeah.
whatever the normal.
Then the fees for the
Because you can either do it on your phone or have it.
How'd you do it?
I got it.
You got the key instead of having it on your phone?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's way better.
Yeah.
What? I don't think so. I disagree. I
it'll be
had them all.
100.
Had fobs and the whole thing and the phone and had
I've
them all. I
been
like
with
the
people where
phone.
their phone just like, it freezes and they can't access it, so then they gotta turn off the phone and do it
Yeah.
all over again.
Knock on wood.
On your phone, is it cheaper?
$50.
It's cheaper, yeah, it's
You don't have
cheaper.
to
The
pay the
only
deposit.
problem I've ever had with having it on my phone is sometimes if you get in an area where you're not getting good reception. So if like I'm out in Bethel Island, there's some areas of Bethel Island where I can't make the phone get enough connection. So then who's ever with me usually has a better carrier, like Sprint or something.
Right.
And then I just link into their phone, into their hotspot, and then I'm able to open it. But I've had a few situations where I don't have a connection and that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. But
So-
other than that, it's been great.
So what I do.
Because you never forget your phone.
Well, I've
forget.
got the super thing because I'm tied into a couple other outside of the area MLSs, and we're proving that we can get in access to more places. But I've got that because from time to time, our agents are going to another area, and rather than paying for getting set up there, they just take my key with them,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and they get in. You're not supposed to do that, so.
You can edit that.
Yeah, we don't do that, but, because obviously I'm not giving my phone to them to go down to those areas, so I just do it that way, so.
That's a good idea.
My feeling is I'm the broker, I own the business, and so
Yeah.
if they're using my key on those things, I don't feel like we have to
Yeah, they can't really take your phone.
do
so.
a shakedown on that, so yeah. So it's important that you kind of see where you are, where you've been, and where you're going, and come on, there we go. But the planning tool is very helpful. Did you integrate yours on your calendar?
Yes.
Okay, and so here's the next thing. Are you following what it's saying on your calendar?
I don't really know how to do it. Like when you have to go make calls, so I had to have my key for her to get onto MLS and all that, or to go with that. I don't know.
Okay, so
So I don't know how to really do it. I don't understand it.
we'll start doing some of that stuff. Okay, is yours integrated on your calendar, and you're following it? 100%.
For the most part.
Okay. Okay.
I freeze up when I get to the calls, like I feel like I jumble and like
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay. What do you stumble over?
And then my mom calls me back. What was that?
I don't know.
So what do you stumble over?
I know we have the script and all that in there, and theoretically, it's a great idea.
Okay.
If you use it, it's great. But it's just, for me, it's more practice. I need to get used to memorizing like what it says, and
How many is it
Making
having you
it-
do? How many is it having you do?
it doesn't have it on my thing. It doesn't on my planner. It doesn't have like an actual
It just
number.
blocks
It
plus
just
the time and block time.
yeah. So it just says to call. So however many calls you get through, and then you mark down how many calls you've gotten through. But it's just memorizing the script and putting it into my own words and being comfortable with it. And it's so frustrating because even regular people, like if I'm on the phone, like I hate being on the phone. I feel like I've said that more than enough times. Like I'm back here on my little desk, and I'm like, even when I have to call an agent,
You're gonna have to
Just
go
to see-
visit then. You have to take
just
cookies or
to
something.
just to see like a property, or if I have to call like an owner, like to schedule a viewing or something, like I'll hang up the phone and I'm like, ugh. I hate calling. It's just
Okay. So why do you thrive in conversations like this, but you struggle on the phone?
I don't know.
Maybe you should do video chat.
Oh, I hate that too. 'Cause then I look at myself and I'm like, oh my god, why did I have that donut? Like, you know, it's just, you can see yourself. I don't like it.
Okay.
Because I like you guys.
Okay.
And it's very hard for, I don't know, I'm very critical of myself, and I know that I have a speech impediment that sometimes comes out when I'm nervous, and I say a lot, so it freaks me out, and yeah.
But is a millennial thing.
I know,
Say
I don't
something?
like it, though,
Yeah.
and I hear it.
Yes.
On here, it was saying that you should do like a speakerphone thing and everybody do it. I think that just, you know, if we all sat here and listened to you on a call,
Okay.
or like listen to Maggie, you know, with people that have more experience in or
So Emily sat in on
was saying to do that.
Emily sat in 2 phone conversations that I had today, and so what did you learn from the conversations today?
I mean,
She grew up with it. That's like my kids.
She's like,
They're so
"Dad,
sick
I
of
tuned
it."
you out."
Yeah,
No, she was listening because it was
not a normal conversation.
well, one of them was the lead. So, I mean, it was good to hear the questions you should ask when they, like, what are your needs, what are your wants, where do you want to live? Just stuff like that to remember. And just to see, I don't know, the flow of the conversation and.
and then how about with the clients for the offer?
Yeah, I don't know, just, they were very kind of set in what they were comfortable with as far as price, and so even with him, like, trying to tell them it would be a good idea to do it now, go now rather than later, because later it'll be more in the long run. You definitely gave them their space of like, this is your decision,
But how did I phrase it that I kind of took it off the hook that I'm not trying to pressure them into it?
I don't remember what you said.
So I said I've had clients in the past who
Oh, yeah.
didn't, you know, the extra 5,000 or whatever, they didn't do it because they were, you know, they were worried and concerned and it's a lot of money and all that. But then they kicked themselves 6 months down the road because when they really wanted to buy what they could buy for that number before was now $30,000 more, and things changed on them. And they wish they had done it earlier and not lost the opportunity. So I said, I'll bring that up because I don't want you 6 months down the road wishing, oh, I wish I had done that. And they took that into consideration and you know, kind of made their decision on that, which is fine. But the other thing is, they can't down the road say, well, you never said that. You never said you know. So you laid out there, it's like, here's the scenarios, your decision, but I want you to at least be aware of them. But yeah, we could do some practice stuff. And anytime that I am, anytime that I'm here, because I often do speakerphone because it's just easy because I'm usually working on my computer when I'm talking to them. Anytime you hear me having a conversation, you want to come and listen in on it. Just walk over. If it's a private one or one that's more, you're not real estate related, I'll wave you off. But otherwise, you're welcome to sit there and listen and hear how I handle the conversation and what I do. That's, you know, that's how we learn. So we can definitely do that stuff. So we talked about the business plan, automatic plan. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. What's going on? There we go. So finding sellers. Listings are what? Life. And there's some people that love listings, some people that hate listings. You got buyers agents only. I think listings open up all sorts of opportunities for us, and that's where we need to try to get some focus there, because that opens opportunities to meet people for buyers. It gives you opportunities to, what you can do is you can show people your listings that are out there. It shows you're active. They can see your promotions you put out there. There's a track record of that. It's easier for people to see what you've done in terms of when you've listed stuff than when you've worked with buyers. Because a lot of times buyers is quite under the radar type of a thing, just that they're the buyer. They really do help. When your listing sells, you get a commission, which is kind of nice, which is what we want. Listings also breed buyers and they breed sellers. And they promote you and they promote Weichert. So I've got this one listing that they don't want to sign on it right now. They said they just didn't want. So their thinking was we don't want people knocking on the door and disturbing us. Are these fill in the blanks? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can fill in the blanks on your sheet there. So sorry about that.
I thought that was something we had to think about.
So they don't want people knocking the door, which, truthfully, everything's on the internet, so they could, people are gonna know the address and they can go knock on the door. If there's no sign on there, there's no way I can stop it. But if I've got a sign on there, I can put, please do not disturb. But,
I have a question
Yeah.
about that. So online now, when you put up the listing, there's an option for you not to have the home address on the house. Like you can have a picture of the house, but there's an option to not have the
address?
address on there.
Sometimes they don't have the address because maybe you have a tenant that's living in there that you don't want disturbed. They're gonna find out what the address
Yeah.
is anyway.
Right, well, I'm saying when I uploaded like my listing, like in Hayward and in Antioch, it asked me like the MLS, it prompts you like, do you want the address
The full
shown
address on there, yeah.
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 Oh, but also, I know exactly what you're talking about. When you hit that, it's gonna go to all the other websites.
Right.
And it wants to know if you want the address displayed to the whole world,
Yeah.
right? So like Zillow, Realtor.com, all that.
Yeah.
Now, the advantage and the disadvantage of that, if you're putting the address out there, anybody can drive by and go look at it. If there's no address, they gotta call you. Say, hey Linda, what's the
Yeah,
address on
but
that?
the address does have to be on
So-
the MLS though. I
The
think.
MLS, yes, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be
But the other
broadcast
ones,
to
yes.
everyone else. Yeah.
Correct.
So there's advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes I get mad if I see a property that doesn't have an address.
Yeah.
So
But then
does your seller like not want the address online? Like did they?
No, they don't want people knocking on the door and they felt like the sign was there. Now what they said is, once they go pending, you can put a sign in the yard. We don't care. So, which is fine with me. So we'll put it up, once it gets pending, I'll put a sign in the yard that says pending.
The one I have in Oakley, they keep taking down. They keep taking the sign down. Go put it back up. They take the dang sign down. I told them, what's the problem with the sign? Well, we just don't want the sign now up, and it keeps falling apart. And they give me everything in the book why they don't want but the financing sign is still there.
No.
But the other sign, they keep taking it down.
Really?
Weird, right?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do?
Listings also give you control. You have some control over that and you can, you know what you're working with. You know that if you're marketing right, you should have a paycheck at the end of that versus when
Buyer, you never know.
when you're driving around the buyer, you may not have a paycheck at the end of it.
Right.
You may have a good friend.
You might have 2-year buyers maybe.
I've had a buyer for 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And our Naomi and Naomi and I had a client who we got him before my wedding in 2016. Like I was brand spanking new, and she was like, "Help me with this buyer." I was like, "Okay," and it was like April or something, 2016, and we just closed on this house.
But see,
in
it still
December.
worked.
That's right.
And it took forever.
Right.
Sorry.
Which means I think a long time. You get all that down now?
Give you control, yeah.
Okay. It's prospecting is constantly looking for people who may need to move for whatever reasons they're moving. It's just looking for people who need to make a move, and that's what prospecting is. Or looking for people who buy. It's easier to prospect for people who need to move or who need to sell than it is to prospect for people who want to buy. That's why listings will help to reach for buyers, or for sellers will help for buyers. And so there's most ways of doing that. You could do neighborhood phone calls, and in a session or two, we'll have a way that you can get phone numbers, and you can get cell phone numbers for a neighborhood that are not on the do not call list. And you can use those for making phone calls, and that's where you want to use your scripts. And you want to do that. You could do neighborhood canvassing. You could do direct mail. So, where did our piece go, Emily? You put it on the desk?
What?
The,
Oh, yeah.
so, we've got a direct mail card that, in theory, could have been put together in 10 minutes, but we kept making adjustments, and so Emily had to keep reinventing every time. So, it didn't take me any time at all to put together. It did take Emily some time because she was doing it.
Could've did it.
I did one too.
So there's
Oh,
our
that's a good picture.
there's our one for our canvassing neighbors. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mail out to 10 to 20 homes, all the same size in that neighborhood. So we'll mail out those cards to between 10 and 20 homes that are the same size house in my neighborhood. Because then we can put together a CMA, use all the same cops, and just change out the address on each one that we do. We'll put that in an envelope with a letter and something kind of fun in there, and we'll go knock on those doors on a Saturday or Sunday right now because of the weekend. When it gets light later, we can go in the evening. But we want to knock on the door when someone's home, say, hey, you should have gotten a postcard from us. Maybe you got stuck between stuff. But hey, we just wanted to drop this off for you. It's a comparative market analysis. Basically tells you what your home was worth, roughly. And we'd love to be able to send you one of these every 6 months. If you'd like that, we could do that. No charge. We just do that. Keep people informed on the neighborhood, what's going on with cost. And if you just give us a name and an email address, then we can send that to you every 6 months. And our goal is to get 25% of the people that we knock on their doors that answer to give us name and email address, and hopefully phone number and that sort of stuff to follow up with them through that. So we're going to do a little bit of a email, direct mail, and canvassing of the neighborhood also. And then we're probably going to do sometime, we're talking about in the summer doing a barbecue thing and in our neighborhood, and we'll provide the meat, have people bring other parts of things, and just kind of do a neighborhood, get together thing with all of our neighbors. So we'll see how that all works out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you read that it's supposed to be DRE now, not BRE?
Yeah, they just switched it back, but it's.
Does it matter?
We're changing.
But on the DRE site, it's DRE for the website, which has always been, but it still says BRE on the website. I know this. They're.
I just didn't know, like with
Yeah.
marketing and stuff, how essential to be.
No, it's not going to matter at this point. Holding open houses, contacting your sphere of influence regularly, and again, that's why you want to build your database and your sphere of influence, so you can contact them, keep in touch with them, get that first letter out, and that. The key to successful prospecting is what? What do you think?
Just doing it.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gotta do
It's
it.
consistency. You got, because here's what'll happen.
Can't cure lazy.
You'll be marketing to people, and you kind of drop off for a few months, and then next thing you know, they're moving. It's like,
Hey.
why'd you come? Well, they just happen to call or happen to mail something. Just we were thinking about it, so we call them. Out of sight, out of mind. It's just unfortunately how it happens. So consistency is the key thing here. You've got to get out there. You've got to continue to stay in front of people. Don't do it in an irritating, annoying manner. Do it in a positive manner. I know, Maggie, you send out calendars once a month, or once a year, right? Lori Abreu, she does 3 or 4 different gifts every year to her
I do
top.
cards too.
her
I
top
make sure I
20.
do calendars, but then I make sure I do Thanksgiving and Christmas cards, and then I make sure during like the middle, I try to do something every 3 months, and then during the middle of the year, I just like to write a card and say, hey, how are you? We haven't talked in a while, just touching base.
Yep. Yep. So it's consistency. It doesn't have to be expensive. What one agent does is after Christmas, they go out and buy up all the wrapping paper they can. And then in November of the next year, that next year, they'll take to their top 20 or top 30 clients and deliver wrapping paper to them as, hey, just here's your wrapping paper, I know Christmas is coming up, and just it's a positive thing that they do there. So you want to make sure you're doing that. It's an ongoing process. Schedule out your activities. No, so that's paper. On your calendar. They need to be treated as important as showings, listings, appointments, home inspections, etc. Put things on your calendars and stick to them. If they're on your calendar and you just blow past them as things to do, you're only hurting yourself, because the process that generated that for your calendar, it doesn't care if you did it, but you have to care. So if you can't do it when it's scheduled, reschedule it. You can reschedule for the next day, or you can reschedule for a week out. You can adjust those on your calendar however you want to, but I would just say make sure that you're doing them. Stick to it, otherwise they become worthless. Also, watch for these hints on newspaper announcements and social places. People having babies, or their relationship status gets changed to it's complicated, or gets changed to single, or, on Facebook and those sort of things.
Why?
Because if they were married and now they're putting down they're single or it's complicated, it may be
might be a listing. It's
So-
terrible.
So the guy who called earlier.
Oh, jeez.
So I called him and he called back, and then we called him back because he missed the call. So said, hey, so calling you back, got this, referral from Christian Referral Network. So what are you looking to do? And how did he phrase it?
My wife wants me to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, what's the follow-up question that you're gonna ask?
Where are you looking to move?
So my question
How
was,
far?
my question was, so is she moving with you, or are you, And he goes, no. If I was moving, I have to move on myself, I'd be moving to a cardboard box. No, she's moving with me. It's like, okay, because you phrased it, it was like, it could be that, you've been asked to find a new place to live. So,
That's awesome. I should tell Daniel.
Divorces are hard. They're hard
Yeah.
to work with. I've worked with a lot of
Yep.
divorces, and they're very difficult, especially when you're working with both. So if they're selling a house, they're divorced, but you're doing paperwork or working with them
Yeah.
individually. It's very difficult.
Lori Val's first listing was a divorce situation.
It's very challenging.
Yeah. But look for announcements, look for things that are taking place, looking for things, maybe they got a new job, and maybe it's like, hey, you got a new job, just found out I'm getting a new job in Kentucky. Well, what does that mean they're gonna have to do? Most likely move.
Did you hear about the nurse that commutes from Wyoming to San Francisco every day for or almost every day for because he does 10 4 10. So he's out here, but then he flies back
Yep.
to Wyoming or wherever the hell he's at.
I've got some friends that live in Brentwood. She
Yeah,
works.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, I have some friends that live in Brentwood. She works at one of the hospitals, and they're looking at moving to Arizona, and she's gonna do the same thing. She's gonna fly in there. She'll stay at her daughter's for a couple days a week, and she'll work those 3 days, and then she'll fly back home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Man, sorry.
yeah, it's okay. Look for vacant or neglected properties. Look for new home construction. Look for business relocates, or for business relocates or closing. Moving or garage sales. Man, stop at every garage sale that you can. Talk to the people. Find out, oh, why are you doing a garage sale?
Better than that, if
Okay.
you all the agents around town that plan and do the big garage sales, and they do little maps and all that. So I used to do that in your neighborhood, and I had people in cells in Laurel that would call me and tell me they still had, because what I did was I did really cute postcards where I showed I think I put a bucket with toys falling out and old baby clothes and stuff. I did a card with everything all over it. And they loved the card so much that they put it up on their refrigerator and kept it for like 5 years. And I got a call like 5 years later saying, "Weren't you that agent that did that?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" Because the whole purpose is to be consistent about it.
Right.
So you do it 1 year, do it the next year, do it the next year.
Yep.
But I got so caught up in everything else
Yep.
that I didn't continue doing it. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of times in my neighborhood that they do a yard sale and 6 weeks later,
they move out.
they're gonna sign the yard that they're moving.
Mm-hmm.
So look for those. I always stop and talk to them, you know. So you just clearing stuff out, or you going somewhere? Now we're just clearing stuff out. Okay, you know. So talking about that, but say, yeah, we're clearing out. Oh, you know, you moving because of work, or what's, you know, just kind of get a conversation. And hey, if I can help you out, let Bill to help you out here, and give them my card, that sort of stuff. And sometimes say, oh, we're already ready to go with an agent. This was kind of the last thing we do before we get it listed. So, you know, but yard sales, moving sales, garage sales are a great way to prospect and find business. What you looking for?
It's every half hour, so it's fine.
No. Oops. Dang it. So there's two categories that all prospecting activities fall into. What are they? I just flashed it up there. What are the kind of activities?
One of our activities.
Yeah. What there's two activities that prospecting activities fall into. What are they?
Passive and active.
Active and passive. Okay.
Active.
Active is you find them. Passive, they find you. Which is a better business model to work towards?
You find it.
Active, definitely. You find them. So you want to be out there and be active on that and go, you know. So I love the picture there. You know, the guy sitting by the phone waiting for it to ring. You know, please ring, please ring, please ring. Well, if you're not doing active things to make it ring, it's probably not going to ring. Just kind of. So, on the list here, direct mail, is that active or is it passive?
Active. I like it being proactive.
Is being proactive, but is it being active or is it being passive?
It's kind of passive.
Okay, that's I would say it's passive.
You can mail all you want, but if you don't follow up and do the face-to-face thing, it's not really.
Okay, so I would say it's passive and there's money involved, right? It's going to cost you money to do that. Okay, phone calls, active or passive?
Active.
Active.
No money.
And Linda knows they're active because her stomach starts to go.
Yeah, so I feel like I should just call from the bathroom.
Hi, this is Linda. Just want to call and see.
Can I tell them something really quick? Just
No.
interject really quick. I like to put. I like to dress up and put my badge on all the way.
Dress up?
Yeah, I like to be dressed up and put my badge on, and then go places like Ross or Macy's or stuff like that. Because let me tell you, at least one person is going to ask you, "Oh my God, you're a realtor! Oh, I'm thinking about selling, or I'm going to buy, or I just did this, or how's the market, or
Right.
whatever it may be."
Hold
It
on.
happens all the time. I just haven't had any money to go shopping lately. But
Hold on, you have to have Maggie's persona or positivity to do that because I don't like people and I hate shopping. So if I were to dress up and have my badge on and go through and be like, why are you in the middle of the aisle? Like, are you gonna go or are you gonna? Yeah, people will be like, okay, not selling my house with you.
Raining with your cart's not a good marketing technique.
We can
Okay,
just stand behind them like,
do you like Starbucks?
yes.
do you go to the grocery store?
So go sit in Starbucks.
You have to go to the grocery store.
Okay.
I hate the grocery store.
Okay,
I
I'm
go
sorry.
there.
Okay.
Sorry, Dave.
So put a name badge on or you know, shirt or whatever. Go sit by as close to the door as you can at Starbucks and work for an hour, work on real estate stuff, and have that there. And listen as you're working. Listen to conversations around you, and butt in on conversations.
Be a Badinsky.
Well, I mean,
That should be my saying. I'm a Badinsky.
yeah, but at Starbucks, it's hard not to hear conversations.
Yeah.
I'm always at Starbucks meeting somebody for unrelated stuff to real estate.
Can you imagine doing fake phone calls?
Is it your phone ring? Oh. I know. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I didn't know you dropped off.
you
Sorry
hung
about
up.
that.
Sorry, the call got down.
But a girl was studying, so I started talking about what she was studying, that sort of stuff, and then we got a conversation about real estate, just taking interest in what she was doing. I met somebody else down at Starbucks last week, and was sitting right by the door, got into 5 different conversations with people, 2 of which those ended up being real estate related, just because people coming and going, and I knew them, or they recognized them, and they recognized me, and got in conversations. So you don't have to make phone calls. You can or go to the store. You can sit someplace like that and actually work on your real estate stuff and have the opportunity for conversations. Website inquiries, passive or active?
Passive.
Passive. Hanging up business cards, active or passive?
Active.
Active. Okay. Billboards.
Passive.
Okay. And money involved. Park benches
Passive.
and money involved. Advertising newspaper,
Passive.
money involved. Advertising in the home magazine,
Passive.
passive. There's money involved. Walking door to door and talking with people,
Active.
active. Holding open houses,
Active.
active. Okay. So you need to do some passive activities, but you also need to pair it with active active activities as well for the greatest impact. So like we're mailing out the piece to the neighborhood. We're also going to walk the neighborhood and knock on doors. We're going to combine the 2 together, and hopefully we get a 25% success rate in terms of getting more information and be able to put them into our database. And then hopefully over the course of the next year, we get 2 or 3 or 4 deals that come out of that from doing that, being consistent with that. Passive, active, so I could have done this as we go along. Passive, active, passive, passive, active, passive, active. There we go. And money involved. Okay. Again, they can be effective and an important part of the plan. Both passive methods can be, but relying on passives methods just for your business is a plan to fail. It just can't be passive. You just can't sit back and wait for the phone to ring. Prospecting methods are face-to-face, telephone, direct mail, email, and all of that. And again, people get a ton of emails. They get a ton of phone calls, and that sort of stuff. So if you're doing that, make sure you're doing it so it's positive things and not a bait and switch and those sort of things. Have good reasons for emailing or calling people. Direct mail. If you're not going to do like a postcard, postcards are good because whether they want to look at it or not, they at least see the logo, see your picture, that sort of stuff on a postcard.
My phone, I'm sorry.
I thought it was mine.
If you're in something other than a postcard, you're in an envelope. Handwrite the envelope because handwritten gets opened up way more often than typed, or you can cheat and do the clear things that looks like you've handwritten it, which is fine also. Canvassing involves direct contact with prospects. Let's see. So face-to-face advantages is it uses all the senses.
They know it's 5. I'm sorry. You got it. I'm just gonna turn it off.
Okay. Allows for two-way communication. I'm behind here.
Yeah, where are you?
I don't know if that's in your stuff there. So let me just talk about. So there's different prospecting. So face-to-face prospecting uses all the senses. Allows for two-way communication. You can write a contract, makes a more lasting impression. Disadvantages when canvassing, it's time inefficient, takes a lot of time to walk, you knock on doors, go between door to door, and other disadvantage, you need to practice. You need to get good at that. Third is throwing up on the doorstep just is not good business practice.
If you do it in a bag and then light it on fire.
And they shut the door in your face, huh?
Yeah.
Telephone, advantages of that, time efficient, allows for two-way communication. Whether or not an issue, you can do it any time. Disadvantages is your voice has to carry the entire message, and you get kind of the telemarketer stigma, and this one you puke when you're on the phone, or you gotta go to the bathroom. And some people, I had a guy that I worked with when I was a youth pastor, and I would call him on the inter-office phone, and I knew he was in his office because I could hear him talking, and I could hear his phone ringing in his office. We were like 4 offices away, and he wouldn't answer his phone because he hated talking on the phone that much. So I'd have to walk down. It's like, why don't you answer your phone? Because I hate talking on the phone. Ralph, I'll keep it short, and it just, so I would have to go down and have a conversation with him. So it was inefficient to do that. So there's advantages, disadvantages. Telephone, direct mail, time efficient, potentially long shelf life, can communicate a lot of information. Disadvantages, cost, and can be seen as junk mail. Yes.
I will say I have just the handwritten notes that I've sent out. So I do handwritten notes to some people in my spheres who I haven't contacted. I've been called 3 times, so I feel like that's a really high number for handwritten notes. Direct mails, I've been contacted 4 times on my Hayward listing when I sent those out, when they were sold. And then I was contacted 3 times for my Antioch listing when I sent the sold out. So I just have to, and they called me. And so now I have to actually nurture the relationship, which I suck at. But I'm like contacting them and like emailing them, and they're like texting me back and forth. But I just want to say like
So you used kind of an active and a passive method, because you probably did open houses on those, and you mailed out, and now you got a response. Now you need to use active and passive to nurture those relationships. But that's actually excellent return on that.
That's great. I think.
And if you turn one of the Hayward and one of the Antiochs into business, and in turn you turn those into 1 or 2 things, that's how you grow it. So you did a great job with that, and it does work, but you've got to work.
Yeah, and a lot of times you don't really see it happening, because I think over the last 13 years, I think I've been contacted off postcards, and I send them a lot. I think I've been contacted maybe 3 times in all that time. But on the flip side of that, I'll meet people that are like, oh my God, we see you everywhere. And I'm like, I don't know anything else. So it has to be that, right? So they'll know exactly who I am and what I do. So you don't think it's working, but it's obviously working.
Part of the reason that we go over these things, we're going to go over the course of these 9 sessions, is that try everything and see what works for you, see what's effective for you, and find your niche of what works there. You may not realize that something works because you haven't tried it, but it may be very effective for you. Your responses in your cards, that's a great response. If I were you, I would keep banging those out, because that was a great response.
I thought that social media was going to be higher for me, like people contact me, but I've only had 1 person contact me off of like the stuff that I put off social media, like my videos and little advertisement things on there. I thought I would have been contacted a lot more just because of my age and people, but it's not, it's the opposite.
I think social media is more of a long-term project than a quick one.
Yeah.
And I think the other methods are more.
They say in real estate, anything you do right now is going to affect you in 6 months anyway.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like a rule of thumb. So do it now, and you're not going to see it for 6 months. But let me let you know that if you don't do something, and 6 months from now when you're dry, you're going to be like, oh, I know I should have all those 6 months been doing something, because it really does work like that. So
emailing out of Weichert Pro, and the other things we've got, advantages, it's time efficient, easily communicate with many people, can communicate a lot of information. Disadvantages, easy deleted or ignored, not personal, difficult to build relationships via email. And if people are like me, I get on average about somewhere between 100 and 200 emails a day. And I just get buried. But I've got like 5 different email addresses feeding 5 different things, so it's just kind of crazy. So email can be effective, but it's usually more effective in people that you're actively working with than for prospecting. Canvassing. Canvassing is direct contact with potential sellers. So why should you canvass a neighborhood or an area?
Oh, to get to know everybody, for them to know you.
And then we get to know you,
Right,
okay?
right.
Okay,
Define sellers.
what?
Define sellers.
To find sellers, yeah. Who do people tend to use for real estate?
Know, love, and trust.
People who know you, like you, and trust you. If people in your neighborhood or wherever you're canvassing, and you're saying to peace out, that may be effective. It's a numbers game for mailings. You know, X number of mailings should result X number of things, but it gets expensive. But if you combine mailings with knocking on doors, and Linda's at the door, what's not to love? What's not to trust?
Linda's gonna slam the door in our face.
As long as it's not,
We're just not answering.
as long as it's not in a grocery store where she's whacking with her cart, you know, she's okay.
I know.
So, getting out there face to face, now that at least they know you. Now, you knock on a door, they answer. They take your information, but maybe they don't give you anything. Whether they give you their email address and that, want you to follow up, everyone that answers, remind us of this, because I just thought it's brilliant. Every one of those who answers the door, who we talk with, we need to follow up with the person note. Hey, thanks for answering the door the other day when Emily and I stopped by. We know it's a pain, people knocking the door and the dogs bark and all that. But
Yeah.
we appreciated having the conversation with you. If we can help anything, let us know.
You can even go one step further by making a notation about what you guys talked about when you open the door.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Everyone who doesn't answer the door, we're gonna go and egg them.
That's my kind of marketing.
But the eggs have yellow in it, so
Oh,
it's
I
like.
have learned
So can we do like egg cards with like my card and then in the back next time you don't answer?
So like I have learned one thing really important too about door knocking, because I've door knocked quite a bit. I have learned that dressing up a lot is not such a good thing.
No.
So dressing down is better, because
At
I hate to like say it, but they think you're like Jehovah's Witness and
Yeah.
they don't want to answer the door just because of that.
Yep.
And so dressing down for door knocking is actually more efficient. In my own personal case, in my own personal experience.
You know when else the most effective time to door knock is?
After work.
When it's butt cold or it's raining.
Does everybody home?
Well, people are home. The other thing is,
They feel sorry for you?
wow, I can't believe you're out, you know, in this weather. Well, it's important to get this to you.
Some hot cocoa.
Yep.
Yeah, I've made that mistake and went in and then later on said, oh my God, I went in that person's house. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Don't go in their house.
Be careful. Don't go in the
Do not
house.
go in their house.
Don't go in the
It's
house.
your neighborhood. I didn't know, like.
Well,
You never
Yeah.
know
You
who's
know
crazy.
them, but
Yeah.
you still don't know.
If you've been in their house before, okay, but if you haven't, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you guys ever seen Criminal Minds?
Yeah.
You never know.
You don't know.
You never know.
Be careful if you're alone by yourself.
And
by
the guy that
yourself.
moved to the house
tomatoes,
was really creepy.
The reason that her tomatoes are growing so great is because you don't see her husband anymore.
Okay. So you can canvass by phone or in person. What do you think is more effective, by phone or in person?
In person.
In person, because they can see you, they can see your facial expressions, they can hear you, they can ask questions, they can. It's you know they're not rolling their eyes like I gotta get rid of this person, you know.
I don't want my eyes in front of people.
Also, the do not call list, and because your competitors buy telephoning, door knocking can be an effective way of doing that. So, canvassing tools, there's all sorts of tools on there that you can use. You can do door hangers. You can do stuff to hand out with when you're going. So there's all sorts of canvassing tools on Weichert 1 also. If you're gonna knock on doors, have a reason to stop by other than I'm a realtor and I want to sell your home. Have a reason to stop by. We're stopping by because we're handing them a CMA that we printed out. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. We can help you. Let us know. We're gonna not stop by and knock because hey, we're gonna do a neighborhood barbecue. Here's the invitation to it. We'd like everybody who's coming to bring a side dish or bring something here. It's going to be at this date here. Love to have you come. We're going to have a couple of jumpies for the kids, and it's going to be a fun time. So we're gonna have reasons why we stop by and knock on the door. Also, you can ask questions. Did you know what house your neighbor is selling for? Did you know your neighbor's house just sold? Did you know this is an open house? When I do open house, I've knocked on the door and said, hey, we're doing an open house tomorrow, but for the neighbors between 12 and 1, we have a special open house. So if you want to come early, we'll be there. We'll have some refreshments for you, and love to see you. And you don't have to wait till the 1 o'clock one with everybody else. So that's effective also. Reasons for afraid of the phone? Why? And Linda's already answered some of that. Reasons for calling. This is a fill in the blank, I think. Just listed property, you just sold the property, an open house invitation, or you've got a specific buyer. What page are you guys on?
Right here.
Okay. So some reasons for contacting is just listed, just sold, or an open house invitation.
Can you go to them and be like, I have somebody who wants to buy your house?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you've got a legitimate buyer, so if you're having buyers you're having problems getting to, say, what neighborhoods do you like? I like this neighborhood here, I like this neighborhood here. Drive through the neighborhood and say, just as you drive through, say any house you think you'd be interested in, just point it out, write down the address, and then say, I'm going to come back to the neighborhood, I'm going to knock on doors and tell them I've got a buyer who'd be interested in buying their house, they'd be interested in selling it. One, you show your buyers you're working hard for them. Mm-hmm. Two, you may actually find there's some business there. People are like, wow, I can't believe that you'd actually do that, you know. So that gives you a reason for knocking on the door and say, hey, I hate to disturb you, but I got some buyers who've been looking forever trying to find something. We just can't get something. And so this is one of the neighborhoods they'd love to live in, and they saw your house and said, oh, I could live there. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, hopefully take it as a compliment. But boy, if you were considering selling, we'd love the opportunity to do that. And those are the things. Figure out that conversation ahead of time. You can do
And then you
there.
can take your CMA too.
Uh-huh.
If you needed to know, you know.
But if you've got buyers who want to buy it,
it.
come with a really low one. Amazingly, in this neighborhood of $800,000 homes, your home's worth $300,000. You know, the comps don't lie.
Yeah.
I do, but they don't. Okay, getting ready to call. You'll be contacting potential sellers using different reasons. What would you say to a prospective seller about a nearby new listing? So there's a new buyer in your listing, whether it's yours or somebody else's. What would you say to them? You're knocking on a girl's neighborhood.
Did you know that the house is for sale?
Okay.
How much they're selling it?
Okay.
And you're not selling the house. You're just going to the house.
It could be yours, or it could be one in the neighborhood.
Hey, it's a great time to sell. Look at the neighbor's house. I've already got all kinds of interest from people for that one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It could be. If it's yours particularly, say, hey, you know, we've just listed this property. It's going up for sale. I'm going to have a ton of people come to the open house,
Right.
and you know, it means that people would like to live in this neighborhood. Do you know? Are you or anybody else you know in the neighborhood considering selling, you know, in the nearby future, so that as I have people who this one won't work for them, or they, you know, can't get it, I can say, hey, this one's coming up if you'll just be patient.
Yeah, I always tell them, would you like to pick your neighbor?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the neighbor is an important thing. Would you like to pick your neighbor?
Yep. What would you say to a neighbor inviting them to a local open house? What would you say to them there? So you're doing an open house and you're knocking on, say, 25, 50 houses around there?
Go ahead, Linda.
Come to my open house, thank you, bye.
That was very concise.
I'm having an open house.
Very
There's gonna be
precise.
tons of cars. You know, if you have any problems, I always go talk to the neighbors too when I put something for sale, and I go give them my card and ask them if there's any problems or
I did
anything's
that.
bothering you. Please let me know.
I did that in Antioch.
Yeah.
So I did, when I was doing my open house, I just did Bell Drive, which I knew there
Okay.
were, because they're all pretty much like what's going on at that house.
Right.
Right,
So since
right.
they saw my
Everyone
car
wants
so
to
much,
know.
and
Yeah.
I would wave at them, and like nobody ever waved back, and so I was like, okay. So once I was like
Yeah, but
ready,
you're waving your gun at them. when
That's
you-
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when you're like have the middle finger out, you're like, people don't really think that's nice waving. But anyway, so I had my little open house flyers that had my, all my information on it, and so I just went to them and said, hey, just so you know, there's going to be a lot of cars coming down the street, and if you want to come by and check out the house, because I know you've been seeing a lot of contractors coming in and out, want to invite you to come and see it first, and we're going to be open from this time to this time. Also, if you see anything going on at the house, or maybe you have questions about who's going into the house, or maybe you think I should know something, please feel free to give me a call. I always, I will always answer my phone in a timely manner.
Because yours was vacant, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and there was, backed up to, I was close to a trail, so everybody was kind of like, who's going to that house? And I'm like,
Okay.
So now that you already talked to those neighbors, I mean, that was easy for you? When you went
When I
back?
went back, just because I did meet a couple of them, and then they were like, they joked around with me, and everybody had like a nice, I think like after I talked to somebody the first time, I'm comfortable with, after that, but it's just the initial, because something that's always stuck in my head is you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Right.
I don't make a good first impression. I've been told that so many times, it actually hurt my feelings. But I don't make a good impression. I'm better.
I think you don't give yourself enough
I
credit.
think you make a great first impression.
Yeah, I don't think you give yourself enough credit.
I think you do.
I really do, and you always come off like you know exactly what you're doing. Even if when you didn't, you always came off like you knew exactly what you were doing. I think you give yourself way too little credit. I really think you do.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I'm better on like the third or fourth impression. So
Okay.
But here's the thing you need to also keep in mind is that they're just as uncomfortable as you. So they're facing that same discomfort, so it's okay. I mean, everybody's uncomfortable the first time. I come across as this very outgoing person. I get in a new setting where I don't know people. I'm super uncomfortable. I have to force myself to go talk to people. Even when I go to chamber mixers and that, if there's people, I know the idea is it's supposed to mix and talk to people about business. I always go to the 3 or 4 people that I know really well and talk to them first. And eventually I end up in a conversation just from a part of that. But I'm not good at, Maggie can go into a room and she's made friends with 12 people, before I've had a chance to get a cup of, a drink of water. My father-in-law was a master. He'd go into a room with people and we could be at the same function. We'd walk away, he would know their names, he would know their spouses, he would know their kids, he would know when they went to college, he would know, it's like,
that's Daniel.
yeah, I think he was breathing and had brown hair, I think.
Yeah. I think the difference is I really enjoy it. I love people. I want to find out everything about them.
Daniel loves
I
people.
love it.
It's so annoying.
I want to know everything. If they're willing to
it's like,
tell me, why not?
Like I have to keep refilling. He gives out more business cards than I do. Like I want him to get his license because he can talk. And then like when he is talking to the husband and they're like are on a whole other planet, me and the wife are just looking at each other like, your husband likes to talk, huh? We start making fun of them, and then that's how we bond because we're making fun of our husband.
There you go.
Like I need him to get into business.
Whatever works. In Weichert 1, there's associate calling and follow-up guide. I would encourage you to look at that because there's scripts in there again. There's things for following up and how you do that. Follow-up is a key thing. For probably most of you, if not all of us, knowing our scripts, knowing what to say, different types of situations, how to get conversations started and going are going to be a key thing. Once you kind of get it down, you won't need to rely on it quite as much, but they do make a difference. And it does help to strategize out and plan those out. So next time, so no assignment for this week. Keep working on your bio, getting it scored away. If you haven't got, work on your database and work on your letter to get sent
Yeah,
out.
what was the letter? What was that?
Letters
I
for-
missed that, I'm sorry.
Because they're new agents. Hey, I just got my license. I'm excited about it. Just want to let you know that I'm in real estate now. I'm working with Weichert Realtors, H.H. Associates. And so I just wanted to let you know that I'm doing that. If I can help you or your family or friends in any way, let me know. Even though I'm new, I'm working with a team of people with experience, and we make sure that we handle every something along those lines. Just a letter they can send out to the database, announce that they've gotten into real estate.
Got it.
So, and then if I can have a few minutes of you guys this time, I sent a thing in for Weichert for your award. So he's working the press release for that.
Oh.
For your
For
Agent of the
Agent
Year.
of the Year. I
Yeah,
put
you
it
go
on
ahead
my
and kill that,
new business
Emily.
card. I'm so excited.